What's your deepest, darkest secret? I'm covering for twincest. My brother and sister have been sleeping with each other probably since they learned sex was a thing. They went as Jamie and Cersei for Halloween a few years ago. And now everyone jokes about it so much that no one would believe me if I told them. All I've been doing is just collecting favors from them whenever I have to bail them out or allay suspicion. I couldn't think of what I would do with those favors, other than force my brother to get a vasectomy if that became an issue. I don't think I could out them at this point without a good reason. They slip up and come close to revealing themselves now and then. But overall their relationship hasn't been a negative impact on their lives. They're both amazingly accomplished, driven individuals. They graduate next year as civil and environmental engineers with promising futures. They have a great relationship with our whole extended family, their own friends, and anyone they meet. On the surface, they're well-adjusted twins who might seem a little too close if you paid attention but not enough to arouse suspicion. TBF. It's probably because I know what to look for since I know it's still happening. Kind of clever that they did that on Halloween, making people realize how crazy it is and thinking they wouldn't make that joke if they really were. Well, when I was 10, my sister and I had always fought about stupid stuff. Well, one day she started saying that I shouldn't get a TV in my room even though she got one at age 10 cause I would become lazy. And I got pretty mad. We had a dog that she took care of and had to clean up after. So I went to my room and pissed a little on the hardwood floor. Went to my mom and said the dog peed and my sister had to clean up my own piss. Felt pretty shitty after a few years when I realized the kind of disgusting shit I pulled there. I hate my family. Hey, me too. I also hate your family. There are days that I wake up and I feel like I'm not a real person. You know that feeling you get when you're at a wedding or a party and you have your drink in hand and you're passing and you're blending in and everything is cool but there's this strange melancholy in the back of your head because you feel detached from everything around you? That feeling when you're throwing rice at a wedding as the newlyweds drive away and you feel happy for them and it's fine but it's like, not happening. My cousin gave me a blowjob before we knew we were related. My immediate family said we were having friends and family over for a huge party to watch football. And this cousin was from another state so I didn't know her or her family. Well, in the basement we have a pool table and when everyone left to watch the game, my cousin and I were still downstairs playing pool and things just escalated from there. Later at dinner, my dad introduced me to his brother, and I immediately was like, hold up, shit. We don't regret it, but we definitely are not telling a single person about it. Now that I typed this out, I wonder if she knew we were related. I'm 49 years old and have never so much as even held hands with a woman. I'm in technology. Apparently well liked and good at my job. Fit enough and in case you're wondering, not religious. But I did have a severely mentally parent and another who was a distant heavy drinker. My sister is probably an undiagnosed histrionic personality disorder who went on to become a stripper. I guess I grew up in such a way to be rather afraid of other people's emotions and shut down. My guess is that I went off the rails quite early. I lived just far enough away from my grade school that I took the bus. In the 4th grade our driver arranged for us sit in specific seats rather than the usual procedure of having us jumping around and screaming the entire ride. As it happens, I was seated next to a rather aggressive personality. Rather than request alternate seating arrangements, I walked. Having started, I didn't take the bus again until I graduated and went to junior high. I wince as I write this but I guess I assumed at that tender age that no one would care. I remember turning 25 and thinking as I got off a bus that I really ought to get a girlfriend. Well, decades later and I've just busied myself with work instead. Life is a funny thing and we are complicated creatures. I was molested by my youngest brother's father. The first time around 8 to 9 and the second time around 13 to 14. I'm not ashamed of the act itself, but rather why I allowed it to happen. I liked the attention. My brothers constantly got good attention from him, but the only time he had anything nice to say about me or to me was when I was being told how beautiful I looked, or even how sexy I was. When we were 10 years old or something, my brother and I explored and touched each other's bodies. We didn't have sex and it was consensual but shit man that feels weird and wrong. First time I tell someone. I feel emotionally detached to most things in life. This is particularly challenging when socializing as I often voice my disinterest when not paying particular attention. Just to clarify from some comments under here, it isn't depression. I struggle to achieve emotional attachment, but can and have achieved it. For example, usually in social situations I'd just be detached and it would take a lot to spur emotional response from me. I do have subjects that I do care about to enjoy, but outside of that narrow range, it's mostly blank expression and indifference. I get too attached to everyone way too quickly, and I just wish I could provide for all of them enough so they could basically do whatever they wanted without worrying. Also, I want someone to cuddle with forever. The only thing keeping me from killing myself is the fact that it would destroy my parents. I hide the negative parts of my life from my family. They don't know that I'm depressed, smoking, drinking, and slowly giving up on college. You know how when your phone corrects to ducking? Well, I thought ducking meant acting like a duck as opposed to crouching down. I am a PhD student. I have liver damage from multiple suicide attempts involving pills. My family does not know this, and I have no plans on telling them. Got molested by an older cousin as a child. Had horrible depression and anxiety in college when the memories of that resurfaced. It happened at a good age where everything would basically be forgotten for years, but magically came back one day and haunted me for a while. Good thing is that cousin kind of has a shit life and is no longer a part of my family, thank you messy divorce. I'm really poor right now and it happened within the last year. I don't think I'm fooling anyone, but I've been diagnosed with Asperger's, ASD by 3 different doctors. I have never told anyone who didn't know that through my parents. I just watch other people's successful interactions and imitate. That's what everyone else does too, if that makes you feel any better. I was molested and raped by a neighbor from kindergarten to 3rd grade. I was a sad, silent little girl, and even though I got it was wrong somehow, I didn't understand it and was told that meant they loved me. I deeply needed attention and love during my childhood, so I did anything to be helpful and nice. They once asked me to bring a friend, specifically one little boy that was a couple of years younger and lived a few houses over. I asked him to play with us and brought him over. The little boy ran away before he was even spoken to by the neighbor. He saved himself without even knowing it. Today I am a grown woman and he is a grown man, but I have always felt the heaviest guilt a human can feel for calling him over to this abuser's grasp. I see him often coming or leaving from the same house and mutter, "I'm sorry," under my breath. I am proud of him, and hate myself. I am so sorry. I wish he could ever forgive me, but he most probably doesn't remember that ever happening. The abuse stopped when they moved. I never have told anyone. So if you know any little girls ages 5 to 9, could you imagine holding them responsible for something like this? You wouldn't. You would blame the adults. You are no different and don't deserve blame. My father tortured and starved, beat and belittled me and my 3 siblings. My brother died. 2 siblings remain. We are all so hurt and broken. Sometimes we ate grass or once even baby aspirin, just to have something in our bellies. When I got old enough to sneak out, I went to the store and shoplifted food for us. We still had to pretend to be starving on those days or he would beat us near to death. He burned my thighs and legs, broke my bones, sealed me in a room for days and days with no light or food or water. I still fantasize about killing him every single day. I am middle-aged. I lost the baby weight with the first kid by throwing all my food up. It's also how I stayed thin in high school. Husband can't figure out why I can't lose it this time. 9 years later with the second kid. It's too embarrassing to tell him. I think you should tell him. If he's a good guy, he'll just be concerned for your health. He's your husband, and if he's a good one, he'd want to know. Your health is more important than your body image. I don't feel grief like others. Family members die and I'm sad, but I won't be depressed or angry. I just move on. It kinda makes me feel like a monster, honestly. I lived in a third world country that didn't really have toilets at all. We'd usually have to dig a hole in the ground, take a number 1 or 2, then cover the hole with a dirt. When I moved to Canada and saw a urinal stall for the first time in church, I thought the urinal stall was a toilet, so I took a giant shit in it. Turns out I was wrong. Once the crap was found, people freaked out and I was too scared at the time to actually tell anyone about it. Young at the time. I am 46 years old. College graduate and fairly successful in life, and up until 2013 I thought fleas were the plural version of a fly. When it was brought up I was dead sure I was correct. The look of confusion on my wife's face made me realize I was wrong. So wrong. And yes, I was aware of the word flies. I guess I thought they were the same thing. You are going to heaven if that is your darkest secret.